entirely worthless until it goes through a refining process. But here is where the metaphor falls apart. Storing unrefined oil simply wastes warehouse space. Hoarding unrefined data creates a replicating, highly toxic corporate liability that concerns real people and their legal rights. As companies move their computing workloads to decentralized cloud environments, employees often adopt third-party software without corporate IT approval. This unmonitored shadow IT exponentially expands the attack perimeter an organization has to defend. The financial consequences of leaving that expanding perimeter exposed have severe teeth. Under regimes like the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, a breach can trigger regulatory penalties seizing up to 4% of a company's global turnover. Mindlessly collecting vast amounts of information without a strict framework doesn't build wealth. It drains an organization's value by multiplying its exposure to catastrophic breaches. To transform this chaotic liability into an actionable business asset, an organization needs an overarching strategic framework. This is the practice of data governance. The first step is classifying information into a human resources data taxonomy, organizing records into public, internal, and restricted layers. This enables role-based access control. General employees view public names, but only specialized staff, like payroll managers, access the restricted tier containing bank accounts. Once classified, that data requires strict technical guardrails, like encryption protocols and firewalls. This is data security, the mechanical work of guarding digital assets against unauthorized access or alteration. Security supplies the technical means to protect data, while privacy establishes the legal authority to handle it. This ensures that even with perfect defenses, an organization remains accountable for how it treats individual rights and user consent. Refining data is entirely useless without protecting it properly. An enterprise can have flawless technical security, but if they sell user information to a third party without consent, they still commit a devastating privacy violation. In the early 2000s, digital piracy was hollowing out the global music industry. Services moving unverified files freely left artists and record labels entirely unpaid. When Spotify entered the market, they faced a foundational challenge. They had to convince highly wary record labels that their digital streaming counts would be accurate, secure, and immune to tampering. To solve this, Spotify constructed a rigorous governance engine designed to track every single stream, skip, and playlist edition across millions of users with total transparency and auditability. This flowchart illustrates how that mechanism worked. Scattered listening nodes are routed through a secure, central governance engine, converting raw user habits into mathematically verified royalty payouts. At Spotify, rigorous governance acted as the core product. By building a framework that verified every stream, the company earned the trust of global labels and secured the licensing deals that made their business model possible. To build a secure system, a high-level mandate from the board to simply protect our information is not enough. Abstract instructions fail without a formalized mechanism to translate them into daily execution. That translation requires a document hierarchy. It starts at the top with board-approved policies that set mandatory vision. Those dictate specific technical standards written by IT architects to enforce the rules. Further down the cascade are guidelines, which offer advisory best practices. At the very bottom are procedures, which translate the entire structure into granular, step-by-step instructions for employees to follow. For example, Samsung has a mandatory standard requiring complex passwords. That standard yields a highly specific procedure, the exact sequence of menus a user must navigate to set up a biometric lock screen on a Galaxy device. The University of Michigan institutionalizes this exact policy lifecycle across a massive, decentralized organization. They use specialized councils to vet policies before they reach the executive committee, balancing high-level security with the operational agility of individual campus units. When this hierarchy functions correctly, it yields the ultimate triad of a secure enterprise. The organization's information becomes accessible to the right people, auditable for compliance, and legally compliant with global regulations. Ultimately, data derives its strategic value from relentless refinement and unyielding governance. It is a socio-technical resource, one that rewards organizations that master the intersection of technology, human behavior, and the law.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'll come back to this. So let me just exit this. What we
While privacy established a legal
oh, it's okay. Thank you. Okay, so let me hear. What did you hear? Maybe you couldn't hear it well, but I'll give you the link and stuff. For every session that we are going to have, there's a summary of the whole session. And so that in case you miss the class, even without listening to the whole class video, you can actually just get a summary and to give you a snapshot of what we did in the class. So what this is a snapshot of chapter 1 of session 1 that we are going to have. If possible, we can even enter session 2. So let me just know what some people heard in the session video that we played. Whilst I open Sakai and show you how to access our materials for the term. Yes, let me hear you. I'll come back with the hands being down. Stella, please, you can go ahead.
Good evening, Prof. So,
Good evening. I missed you. I hope you are
I
fine.
missed you, Prof. I'm very fine, thank you.
Okay.
Prof, what I
Good.
heard,
Let's go ahead.
we've always been told that data is the new oil. That is the new
Yes.
thing that's the ish, if I should say. But from the video, we are being told that even though it is valuable, even though data is valuable, we should also put in mind, or we should also put in place some procedures to be able to not just protect the data that we are having, but then guidelines as to how exactly we are going to handle it or who would have access to it and all
Okay.
that. So there's the need to go the extra mile to not just be looking for the data, but how to handle it and how to use it.
Thank you very much. That's a very good point. Yes. Crude oil in its crude nature is of no value to anybody until it is processed. And it is also protected. You know what has been happening to crude oil across the world. Even the transportation of the oil itself is sometimes hijacked by people, terrorists, and all kinds of stuff. You know what is happening across Iran and stuff. So we have come to a point to realize that it's not just having the oil, but being able to make meaningful use of it, meaningful meanings from it, or meaningful products or value from it matters more. Yeah. Anybody who wants to share something else that you picked up from the session? Anybody? Mm. Anybody who wants to share something else you picked from the session? You are welcome to go ahead. Yes, I think I've seen Hanan. Yeah, sorry. I didn't
Good
see it
evening,
early.
sir.
Good evening, Hanan.
Yes. So, even though what I heard was that, like, even though data is the new oil, it's behaves like oil, is valuable and all. The difference you can see between data and oil is that when you have data sitting there, you are not using it. One other thing it can do for you is that it can get you into big trouble. In that, as you keep piling it, and then employees can get you into trouble by exposing it to external use, and then people's privacy and information can get out there and get the entities into big trouble and uh, financial like costs, financial costs.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I've actually hit a point that I didn't see. Having it just sitting down is of no value. So you are very right about it. Okay, and it can even create cost for you because the more you store what is of no value, you get to a place you don't even have space for it. So you have a point. Please, when you go to Sakai, the course code is MSBA 604, Data Governance Policy and Regulations. If you navigate to the resources, you see that I have uploaded session 1 PDF. Chapter 1 is I have a book on data governance, and I'll show you right now. It will be in the bookshop hopefully next week. If I'll show you how to get it, but it's also on Amazon already. But data governance, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 are already uploaded in terms of the slides. Supplementary materials for those chapters are also put here. The course outline, which we'll go through, is here, and then the group work is also here, even though it's at the group part. I'm just going over it again. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I don't know whether you can see very well. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, as PDFs is already uploaded. Course outline is uploaded as a syllabus. And then the group work, which is combined here, is put there. It's already there. But the group work is also found in the assignments. You are on different cohorts. You are cohort 2, so you'll be submitting yours in cohort 2 submissions. So you click on it, and then you work in groups. So only one group member will upload the group assignment. So I think in every class you're having a maximum of 4 groups. The computers can play music without even telling them. I think Siri is listening to the thing. I'm commanding it to do something. Please let me put it off. Let me put it off. Okay, good. So if you look at it here, this is the assignment. And I can upload it from a group member for my group. So I'll write the file name to my group member. So in every class, we divide the group into class into 4. We'll go through the group work later. We'll be submitting the group assignment on July 11. There will not be any extension. So the earlier you start, the better. Okay, good. And then, so let me just exit. Should I go by it again? Just what's also on Sakai? Or you're okay with what's on Sakai? Hello. Should I go by it again? Hello. Hello. Hey.
Yes,
Prof,
yes, Prof,
we are
please do.
You are fine. So you can please proceed.
But you're not talking. How will I know that you are fine? What this Stella, please talk to your class members. I don't want this attitude.
yes, Prof.
David, you are here. You have crossed your hands. Instead of you participating, you have crossed your hands. David Emma, please cross your hands and join. Anthony, you are busy recording, so you are taking a chill with some water or whatever it is. So you talk. Let me hear your voice. Barbara, good evening. Anyway, so we have it here. Please, I just want you to know. Don't go and submit in cohort 3 and tell me that I should go and look for it in cohort 3. You do that, you lose marks. So I don't advise you. Okay. So then sorry. Okay, unless you're not talking to me. Okay. Then I'll give the YouTube link is in the class. Is it the class slides and stuff? But I'll put it there. So if you go to YouTube, there's a playlist which I'll show you. Stick to the data governance playlist. So every chapter has a music, but if you look at it, every chapter has a video too. It's a video summary. So this is chapter 2 video summary, chapter 3 video summary will be there and stuff. So go through, I'll give you the playlist. Go through the playlist if you want to listen to the chapter in music or a chapter in summary. Some chapter in summary is an animated one. Chapter in music is for those who want to just relax and understand the chapter in music. And so there's enough material for you here. Chapter 1 and chapter 2 have been uploaded to YouTube. Chapter 3 has not been uploaded yet. So don't worry about that. It will be done as we go on. So the chapter 2 video summary is here. And every video summary is just under 8 minutes, maximum 9 minutes. The thing is just a snapshot. If you didn't come to class, all that prof said in 9 minutes or 8 minutes, everything snapshot. So revision on point, every single. So even if you listen to it, you know where you didn't understand. The examples I use in class are given. For example, chapter 1, like this example I'm going to use about Spotify. It was even explained in this particular video that you watched already. I'm spending my time to develop a lot of material for you, so you can't fail this course unless you have made up your mind you want to fail. Which last semester some of you made up your mind you wanted to fail, which I didn't understand. I'll come back to that later. Okay. So let me pause here and go to the syllabus. Okay. Then the class assignment, then we can start teaching. I'd rather put up the slides. Okay, no worry. I can come back with it. So this is the course outline style has changed. The university changed it over the break. So you see that now lecturers are using this type of course outline. But so if you see the old one, tell the lecturer that he has to go and update. You see, they say a revised course outline template. We are supposed to follow this approach where we welcome the students. So we have welcomed you. Don't come and tell I didn't work. I'm glad you are here. Let us get to work. Welcome to. So I wrote a nice welcome letter to you. Okay. So I've welcomed you, please. In the university, did you welcome me? Yes, I welcomed you. Then the description of the course, the delivery mode, as well for that, it's online and offline. The expected learning outcomes, what you'll be doing and what you'll be achieving. The class participation and attendance is 10%. The data governance challenge, which is a group work, is 50%. End of semester examination is 50%, and the data governance is 40%. Sorry, I said 50 for that one. The data governance challenge, the submission date is 11 July. The reason why I'm submitting early is that so I can have enough time for presentations and I give you feedback. So we don't want it just at the last minute. We want to have enough time to go through it. In fact, last year they submitted it early and they presented about 3 times. So they give you comments, you go back maybe 2 weeks time, your group will come back and present again. So it will help the learning process because I didn't they wanted to build a skill for them to be able to know how to develop policies. So the outline of what we'll be doing is here very, very well outlined. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, up to week 10. Then we do 11 to 13 for the capstone challenge or the capstone work or the group work. In fact, the group work is what I want to focus on. In the book, there is a challenge called the AgroLink challenge. We are not going to focus on it. That's just for the book because the book was written for an international audience, so it has the AgroLink one. I have rather customized one for you called the data governance challenge. So please don't. If you see the AgroLink one in it, don't worry about it. We'll discuss it in class. But the challenge that you'll be defending is the one they call the group work, which I'll give you. I'll open it up in just a minute. Then the core textbook is Data Governance Made Easy, Principle, Policies, and Best Practices, currently available on Amazon. We'll go there to find it right now. And then the rest are other materials I'll be giving in class and other ones that are also global. David, you have a question? Since you're the only one in class, let me ask you.
So I was saving it for later. It's about the group work. And we already have
When we get to
okay.
huh?
I'll wait. Let's go on.
You and your matter again, please listen to me before you come and talk. Okay. Okay. So that one is off. Okay, so let's look at the group work now. You already have what assignment or group members or whatever it is. Hey, boss. David haven't. David, what group were you in last year? NumPy or what of them?
I think the first what was the name of our group? Our cohort.
No, no, not your cohort. The group that you competed in last year for the competition.
Xarinex. Okay.
Xarinex. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, since the group work is for all the cohorts, so there are 10 questions, and you choose any one question. But for every cohort, like this cohort 2, you cannot choose the same thing as another person in the same cohort. So you are supposed to have only 4 groups. Please, I need only 4 groups. I can't have 5 groups and 4 groups in here. So in this class, you divide yourself into 4. That's what I mean. And then that means that I see about 39 students. So that means about 9 or 10 people in one group. Then you address the problem. You pick one. So I don't know who is your class rep. Is it Stella or who's the
Wallace
class
and
rep here?
George.
Wallace
George
and
and
George.
Wallace.
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 Yes,
Wallace, yeah,
and
Wallace.
George.
George is a class rep
Yes,
in
sir.
another one already.
He's there,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
How many
We are
places are
here.
you?
We are here.
George, are you here or you are in group cohort 1?
I'm in
Say
court two.
Quad 2.
Then there's another George somewhere. Anyway.
That boy he likes going all over the place.
Okay, so please, you choose one, pick one for your group. There are 10 scenarios, so pick one. So let's say there are group 1, group 2, 3, group 4. You all have to pick independent ones. So when you pick and you register with Wallace, you can't, another group comes and says you also want group 2. Wallace will say no. Because group 2, question 2 has already been taken. If another person comes and says question 3 and is available, Wallace will say it's available. So I think divide yourself into 4 groups. The groups should quickly meet and tell Wallace, I think you and your group members should choose first. then when they can tell them that it is taken already. But there are
Okay,
5, there are 10,
okay.
there are 10, there are 10
Plus,
questions.
So our
There
group
are
have
10
taken the
questions.
last 5. We've taken the last 5 already.
fair, square and
What the
fair.
last one? It's only one question you're answering. How many 5? Are you
I
talking about
know. I
question 5?
mean, we've
Question
taken.
Groundwork,
5
like
is about
groundwork.
smart city. Question 6 is about agric. Question 7 is about pensions. So look at where you work and maybe it may help you. Question 8 is about online
Wallace, we
educational
won't
platform.
do agri.
You didn't say we do agric. You said 5. 5 is smart city.
No, they are discussing
No,
this one
I'm
already.
talking to Wallace. I
Oh, okay,
said we
okay.
will not do
Okay, let's
agri.
agree right now before we leave. Let's agree. Group 1.
Hmm.
Let's go through. Let me zoom out a little bit so everybody can see what is available. Or let me just drop it in the WhatsApp
Yeah,
platform.
sir,
It's
please
fine.
drop it. We'll choose it. Don't
Let
worry.
me but it's already on the WhatsApp platform. I gave it to the other group. So if you go back, you can even see it.
Yeah, true.
Okay. I've dropped that course outline and then listen again. Hey, sorry, I've dropped it to the wrong wrong group. This guy too. Nobody's chatting my group, so I can't see
Hello,
them.
sir. Hello, sir. Please, I think you've dropped everything on the Sakai, so members can pick it up from there.
No,
Everything
don't
is on
worry.
the
It's also
Sakai.
been put. Yes, it's also been put here too, in the WhatsApp group, so everybody can pick it. The group is there. Discuss it among yourselves. You said you do outside the class, but I just wanted you to. Number 9 is on NHIS. Number 10 is on PPA. Number 9, NHIS. Number 8, online educational platform. Number 7, pensions and security. Number 6, value chain, agricultural value chains. Number 5, smart city programs. Number 4, digital learning app, which is in the banking sector or the MSMEs and MSMEs is a microfinance sector. And then the teaching hospitals. Number 3, telecom operators, mobile money. Number 2, and the Ministry of Finance. Number 1. Okay, so I think we should choose where we want to be. Please, this one needs some domain knowledge. So you're the leader of the group. Make sure that you are working in maybe finance. When you go lead your team to choose finance, so domain knowledge will help. I'm just advising that domain knowledge will help. So if more of your members are finance people, you can go to the financial related topics here. If somebody works in MTN, you can go for the Momo one here, or you run your own POS joint. You can. Some of you are entrepreneurs, so you can go. What else is a great one? So you can go for agricultural value chains, whichever one it is. I think it is fair. Okay. Thank you very much. That is the assignment, and that is it. All you are doing is developing a policy, and then also develop a communication packet for the policy, like videos, infographics, brochures, jingles, music, to be able to communicate the policy. Last year, somebody who was working on birth and death registry, and they did something on family planning or something like that, and they did a nice brochure, and they also did a song for mothers for mothers to understand certain things about what some of their principles were concerning what they were saying in their policy. It was a very nice. Somebody also last year we also had Ghana Airways. I think Ghana Airways, yeah, Ghana Air, or whichever one we call it, Ghana Air. And somebody they did a very nice advert. They also did a very good policy. We also had a Ministry of uh, the national identity, the Ghana card group. So they also brought very fresh perspective. In fact, they explained certain things to us about the card that we didn't even know. And they did a very nice policy to govern the card and its use. And they did different infographics for foreigners and staff who are coming in, what they should know, what they shouldn't know. A very, very nice presentation. So I'm just telling you that whatever you choose, make sure that you can write your policy, you can communicate the policy. The communication of the policy is important to us. Okay, because all of these things are things that you're going to talk about. Okay. Okay, good. Then so let's come to our core text. Then my slides, then we'll start the session. Any other question on the any other question on our what I said right now? Mm, okay, I don't see any hand up. So this
Hello,
is about
oh,
go ahead, please go ahead.
yes. So the final submission should be in a Word document, and then what we
Yeah, a
present
Word
to you would
document,
be
but Word document, yes, but you also add your infographics. You can put them in a folder and then we'll discuss this later. You can put your infographics in a folder and then send me a link for that one. It can be the report, and
okay.
I can go and watch it. But usually the students keep the
Okay, sure.
infographics and come and present it on the day they are presenting. So the report, the policy is what is
Okay,
really due on the 11th. The infographics is due when you are doing your presentation.
okay,
Yes, yeah, so that there's not too much pressure on everybody. Yeah. The policy is due on the
okay.
11th,
All
but
right.
infographic, but the policy you write how you can put maybe snapshot of the infographic you are developing. Then the day you come and do your presentation, then you show us the video and all those things. Yeah. I hope it's
All right.
clarifying.
Thank you. Yes, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So this is the book, Data Governance. But please, we are getting some for you. It will not cost as much as 521 because this is in dollars. When you translate it, when you convert it, that's why it looks very big. It should be around 200 or even less. I'm trying to make it around 180. Hopefully cheaper for the students to just pick it up. Yeah, but I don't know whether I'll have a lot of copies. So we'll get it as soon as it's available. I'll let you know online this next week. But the book is, but if you are rich and you want to buy it from Amazon, will print it colored for you. Ghana, the 180 with black and white. The colored is a little more expensive to get into the country. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you very much. So I'll show you. Yes, Cosmos. Hey. This
Yeah,
class, you
Prof.
are very active. Oh. The other class, they were just listening to me and they don't say anything. I have talked like 10 times since people came. It seems we are missing each other.
Okay, 5 marks for you.
Yes, $5 for everybody. That one, George, remind me. 5 marks for group 2 members, everybody.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, okay then. But are you
Yeah,
taking
Prof.
note
Not
of those who are talking in class and asking questions? Please do that too. Because I'll ask for the role at the end. Today, I can't compile at the same time writing. And last year, it helped some of you. You had 69. When we see your classmates say we move you to 73 and stuff. So it's helpful that today, like Cosmos is talking in class, David is talking in class, Stella is talking in class. Yes. Cosmos, go ahead.
Yeah, Prof. Not to draw us back, but I wanted to find out about the strategy for analytics, the book, if it's out and where we can get it.
Oh, okay. So let's go. Strategy. Just search for Boating again. The Boating here now. Hey, they're going to bring plenty people and all me. So okay. Over the days, I've read a lot of books, strategic grantmanship. Oh, strategy. No, not this one. What you're looking for is strategy for analytics. It's somewhere here. Hmm. Strategy. We should be there for analytics. Who is not there, I'll be surprised. Uh, I think I have to add Richard Watson, unless someone has removed it for different reasons. Sometimes they remove it and tell you to do something on it. Yes, that's it. Hey, nobody, strategy
Hey,
for business is there. It's a very big book. That's why. Okay. But if you are willing to buy first
Prof, do
edition,
you have
it's
hard copy available?
do you know I don't have a copy myself? Since I
Hey,
did publish it, me myself, I've not ordered it for it to come to Ghana. Usually, what we do is that we sign an agreement to get right to print in Ghana. I've not signed it for this one. If I have a large number of students, then I can get that kind of discount. But they don't let you print the very version that you have. They'll let you print a watered down version. So maybe in terms of quality, it will be black and white, not the colored version that they have. Yeah, but I think I can get a rebate for usually if I'm buying it, I'll get it almost like one quarter the price, something like $100, 100 Ghana cedis or 200, 150 Ghana cedis. It's the shipping that will not change, but all the author doesn't buy it at the price that is like that. Well, Amazon profit is part of it. Expanded distribution to Ghana is part of the issue. So this is actually about 60. Let me see the dollar equivalent. It's about 60 something. But whoever asks for it, remind me after class. Maybe I can see what I can do with it. I can negotiate and tell them that the class is over. So they should reduce it for those who want to buy it. Then I can get something. They can reduce it for a month. That's if I want to do a promotion. Then it will go at my cost. It will come into so they
no.
can reduce it too. But the problem is that okay, if you are, you still pay this 400 and something shipping. But that one I can't do anything about it. So by the time I realize the thing is about almost 1,000 Ghana cedis. If you have a friend
Hey,
there that to go to his house, and when he's coming down, then he brings it to you, it's cheaper. That's what people do. They buy it and give it to a friend. Then when the friend is coming down, then they bring it to them. Okay. But you let's see. Let's see. Let me see what I can do. Just give me some time, I beg you. Right now, my focus has not been I realize that I me myself struggling to even find the title where it is because since it got published, we were at the end of the session and I moved on. It's next semester that I may update it a little bit. The few things, the story may change and stuff. Yeah. But I'll check. The interesting thing that somebody I may have bought it in Russia or something. I may not know until the end of in 2 months time. Then when they bring you the report, then I'll tell you who and who has bought it. Okay, so it is there. Okay, so but whoever asks for it, let's talk later, please. Okay,
okay, Prof.
thank you. But thanks for asking. You are very, very thoughtful. Mm. You're not like somebody who is not talking. Okay, so let's continue. Wisdom. Wisdom Poro, how are you?
So I'm doing very great. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So let's start with today's session. Time is gone. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I have this. Where's my slides? Please, you can go to Sakai and download the slides if you need them to follow me. You can go to Sakai and download the slides. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm dividing my screen into two. Half of my screen is for the book, half is for the slides, so that you can use it side by side. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So once again, welcome again. This is the book. Those of you who wanted to look at it. As I told you, there's a link here that takes you to the YouTube page. Let me just share that one in the. Let me just share that one in the chat room here. Somebody can copy it and paste it in the WhatsApp group for us. So I'll put it there in the chat room. David, copy it and paste it in the WhatsApp group, please. Okay. So it covers everything that we are going to do and it's aligned to the syllabus. So chapter 1 is the foundations, chapter 2 is IT policies, chapter 3 is data governance frameworks. And we give you a lot of material to support. Okay, good. Now we have heard about the fact that data is a new oil. Actually, that term was coined by Humby, who is a British mathematician. Clive Humby is the one who came up with the concept about data is a new oil, and it was talking about the fact that data can be synonymous as the value of data can be synonymous as the value of crude oil. But we also came to learn that crude oil is very worth it if it's just in the ground, unless that's in an unrefined state. If it's a refined state, it becomes of value, and companies will even fight for it, and countries will fight for it. So what we are trying to do is that this metaphor has been there for some time. And in this particular session, we are trying to gain an understanding on what does a metaphor really matter, what goes into make data more valuable and in what circumstances, and then why does governance come in. I think one of the things that one of our friends shared with us earlier, she was explaining that she learned from the video that even though the data is a new oil, until we start putting in measures to refine it and protect what we have refined, we don't start getting much value and sustaining the value. So raw data has to be what? Has to be refined and has to also be able to interpreted and has to also be governed. That is what we are going to learn in this particular time term. Raw data has to be what? Refined. It has to be interpreted. That means that we have to make actionable insights from it and decisions from it, define strategy from that, and then from there we then think about how do we keep its quality, how do we ensure compliance that people will follow it as we were suspected, and how do we sustain the value that we are gaining from it. Crude oil in the ground is very, very little. So is raw data, a heap of scattered or disconnected and often messy observation that describes events without explaining them. Value only appears after we start refining raw data. Refining means a sequence of collection, processing, structuring, analyzing or analysis, and protection. So that's what we end up learning about in the session in our session like this. The lesson is refinement and protection are two halves of the same task. Neither of them stands alone. If you refine it, it comes of value. If you don't protect it, somebody may take the value away from you. Okay. So that's what we communicate in chapter 1. Now let's talk about it. If you think about Amazon. Amazon is a global e-commerce operator which, because of its nature of transactions, records millions of small signals. That's what you may call discrete raw data that's coming in at the beginning, facts that's coming in at the beginning of a shopping day to the end of the shopping day. For example, how long a shopper hovers over an item before you make a choice. What did they search for? What did they browse from? Where did they browse from? When did they abandon their cart? What did they finally buy? Now, if we are able to harness that data, we can be able to gain information to personalize the experience of the customer, forecast the demand, and then even tune in the supply chain so that we can have just-in-time delivery. As products are finishing and new products are being have as soon as they get to the threshold of a trigger, the people who supply it are notified and they are able to deliver and bring new products in before the products on the shelf actually get finished or in the shop actually get finished on the online platform actually get finished. So if we don't pick the data, harness it in terms of processing and structuring it, analyzing it, and putting a format that people can make informed decisions out of it, what is coming in is just raw data. It can't do much for us. So Amazon is competing based on that. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? Three places where data refuses to behave like oil. It copies endlessly. I burn a barrel of oil and it's gone. The data set can be duplicated a million times at near zero cost. So possession and control come apart. Okay. So if you have a data set like she was talking about, and you are just storing it and storing it, it doesn't actually generate any value. You are just keeping the information just in the same way. I can replicate a number of times. It doesn't do much. Now, oil has no opinion about how it's used. Personal data carries legal rights. Whilst when we look at the adage that the person put across that data is the new oil, oil doesn't have certain properties that the data has. Data is about a person. It's about a situation. That thing has to be protected. That thing has rights, or the characteristic or the entity that it is describing has some type of value that we have to protect. People who don't want their information, even their examination score records, to just be on or grades to just be on a table of a lecture for anybody to come and read it. No, there have to be conscious effort by the lecturer to conceal the information from even the TA, because otherwise the TA can go around there talking about all the results that they are seen from the lecturer, and that will be breach of what privacy or confidentiality. Hence, it will if people's rights are breached or are not respected, you will end up doing wrong to somebody, which is different from oil. Misuse does not deplete it. A leak data set loses none of its volume. Harm compounds, the same harm compounds, sorry, the same stolen records can be resold and abused indefinitely. So when you look at oil and oil is stolen, in fact, when they start sharing the oil, it will lose its quantity and its value. But with data, it's very different. Data has a different behavior. If I steal the data and I keep on sharing it, what will happen is the effect of what I use the data for can let the the breach or the consequence of the breach rather become exponential. It will grow and become bigger. And the impact will be felt across more people, because maybe some person's private information, in terms of financial information, has been shared on the internet, and others now have it. It leads to identity theft. It leads to less trust in the system. It leads to people even choosing to abandon services. Why? Because data has been breached and it's getting out there, and people are scared that much of their information will be stolen and will lead to they losing value in terms of people getting into their bank accounts or impersonating them. But it's a little bit different with data. So, like we said in the beginning, data is a new oil, has an explanation to it to some extent, but I cannot explain everything about data. Data does more than what oil does. Data has more characteristics that oil does not have. So it concerns people's rights. Misuse does not deplete it. It can actually rather lead to much more abuse. And then you can copy it endlessly, which is not the same with the crude oil that we have. Now, so what are we saying? We instead of saying data is a new oil, we may have to think about a better metaphor. Instead of using the data is a new oil. Who can propose what who can propose a new metaphor? So data is the new what? Water, oil, sunlight, plutonium, or air. What do you think? Mm. And you have to be able to defend it on two grounds: how the value is created and what can go wrong. Mm. So in your view, what is data? Data is the new what? Instead of saying the data is a new oil, what do you think? What would you like to see? Data is a new what? Mm. Yes, class. Instead of saying data is a new oil, what would we like to see?
So I'm thinking sand, but I'm putting my thoughts together just based on the fact that the way sand is foundational in many in the aspects. I'm also
Sand.
thinking
Sand.
yes, SAND.
SAND. Hey. Is it are you referring to soil or sand?
Sand.
Or both? Sand is different from soil. Oh.
Are we supposed to choose one from the water, soil, sunlight, plutonium?
No, I'm just telling you. I just gave this one as the possibilities, and then you went to sand, and I'm saying sand is different from.
I mean, I like sand. I don't want soil. So I have to create a defense for it, or?
Yes.
Okay. So go and come, please. Thank you.
Yes, who would like to try? Data is the new what? Sarah, yes, go ahead.
Data is the
Is the new what?
power. It's in power.
The new power.
PWE. Yes.
PW what?
POWER.
Is the new power.
Yes.
But power is not a substance. Power is not a substance.
If we take it metaphorically, as a metaphor.
Okay. Data is the new power. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But power, does power get refined? Because data has to refine before it will give us value.
Power is not refined, but I was looking at it in a context where if it is abused or misused, it can corrupt or it can go bad.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So he has it's in the wrong hands, it can actually lead to much more negative. Yeah. Okay. I understand this. So. Okay. There is a new plutonium. That's what you mean.
But I'm not familiar with plutonium. That's what I used.
Sorry, you don't know plutonium.
I'm not familiar with plutonium. I've not heard it before.
You're not following the. You're not following the Iran war. That's why.
I'm not.
You're not following the Iran war. That's why.
No.
Okay then. Thank you very much. I think we have 2 here. People are not talking. Maybe when we sit in exam, so we'll start thinking. So we have one. Okay, Cosmos.
Well, I think data is a new microscope. It helps us to see clearly, like the cells, to see everything more clearly.
No, data itself cannot help you see. It is your process of refining that makes you see. So data in itself is in a raw state, and that's why we're looking for a raw material like water, like soil, like sunlight, because it's raw.
Okay.
I hope you understand me. Good. Yeah. So that's what I was saying that. But she already gave us a review that data is metaphorically a form of power, which I understood her argument. Okay.
Prof, then it's cocoa.
Cocoa, you are here. Cocoa has to be planted and to grow. Okay, then I understand you. In cocoa beans, you mean cocoa beans?
Yes, cocoa beans. That it can be processed into chocolate and Milo and tea.
Yes, please. Okay, I hear. And what can go wrong? Can I say? Galamsey can threaten the cocoa beans.
Yes,
but then it will also be just limited to Ghana. Because cocoa is only valuable.
Cocoa is in other countries, Cote d'Ivoire and stuff. Okay, I understand what you are saying. That's what the Galamsey. Kevo, AJ Kevo, go ahead.
So I wanted to say data is a new gold.
Gold, okay.
Yes.
A gold in its raw state, what is it called?
Galamsey.
Gold or anyway, you know there's no Galamsey person here, so you can't tell us. Okay, gold is gold. Okay. So it's like the new gold, okay. And there's a rush for gold. So you mean that is true? Gold has to be mined and then value created from the generated from the gold, what can go wrong? Galam say gold can be abused. The mining part of it can be abused, which is the same thing. So what I say is true. The mining of data too can be abused, like how hackers can intercept data warehouses and take data from them, and they drop it on the internet for others to just use it for what they want to use it for. So what you are saying is true. Gold is a new data to some extent, or data is the new gold. Okay. Okay. In your explanation, so the good. So we have data is new power. Data is the new gold, and then data is the new sand. But he has not yet explained the sand, so we don't reject it until he's able to explain. George,
Ah,
this go ahead. George, go
Yeah,
ahead.
when David sand, it kind of drew my attention to the soil. All right, so with soil, which is like raw dirt, you sometimes it's not conducive for planting. You have to till it or water it, do some nutrient balancing here and there, right? Before it'll be ready for planting. So just like with data, when you have raw data, you'd have to take it through a little bit of cleaning or wrangling before you can be able to process it to get like actionable insights from. So
Okay.
say data is soil.
Okay, so he has been able to explain his argument. So the question is trying to say that give us a better metaphor and then defend it on two grounds. How value is created and what can go wrong. Okay, so the soil like this, as he said, somebody whilst you're asleep, somebody can come and plant the wrong thing there. That means that the data itself, somebody can also infiltrate the data and alterate the information in the data itself, and it become compromised. So his own is also right. Data is the new soil. It's a good argument. Now the thing is, whatever metaphor you choose, you have to be able to relate it to the two. How value is created, how and what can go wrong. So I will accept data is the new soil in this sense. So thank you very much. So I've got data is the new soil. Data is the new for power. Data is a new so there's another one. Um uh,
Cocoa
the new
beans.
gold. Cocoa beans, he didn't explain it, but we understand it because he said you can eat chocolate from it. Today I've eaten chocolate, so I allow him. Anyway, thank you very much. But I like the conversation and where the recommendations that have come. Now, many
So what
enterprise
about what?
water too will work, but make sure you have your defense ready in your explanation. Water will work. Yeah. The Enterprise Strategy Research Group did a survey some time ago, and they pointed out that 61% organization keep more than 30% of their sensitive data in the cloud resident environments. 53% are run distinct applications in such environments. 43% of on-premise applications are going to move to cloud environments, and 55% of all active data and computing workloads already in the cloud infrastructure. And the cloud infrastructure is one place that we are using the internet to store data remotely and be able to access it. Now, if data is becoming that much important and accessible to people through or unrestricted giving unrestricted access through network platforms or networked infrastructure like the internet, that means that data is playing a very key role and central to many organizations, and they are finding ways of making sure that the data is accessible, the data is available, and the data is kind of protected and connecting many or diverse stakeholders together through this cloud infrastructure. Now, if companies are moving towards that place, that means that to some extent the protection of the data becomes a great concern because we are becoming increasingly dependent on the data. As data spreads across several clouds, a long list of SaaS applications, multiple legal jurisdictions, the perimeter of an organization has to defend the perimeter the organization has to defend keeps expanding. Migration is usually driven by sound or commercial reasons, but governance has to move at the same pace, or the result is a patchwork of inconsistent controls. If we don't catch up with this growing need for cloud data, we are going to be in trouble. We need to catch up. We need to protect the data. We need to be able to govern the data. Who has access to it? What protocols facilitate that access? And how secure and sustainable are those protocols? These are becoming an important issue for no organization. Another reason why is okay. Another reason why this has become important is that data is not an issue that is just about putting something in the cloud. But if you go to boardrooms today, the discussion is not just about buying hardware or software. It's about how to compete by the data. How to compete by the data. Both are once filed data security costs and the IT costs. That view has not survived contact with the modern regulatory and competitive environment. People are being asked to put in measures to be able to secure the data they collect from consumers. And then there's an increasing cost or budget in organization expenditure towards data and its management and its protection. And that means that it becomes core part of your competitive discussions. How you compete and how you remain competitive. How you compete and how you remain competitive. 4% of annual global turnover or 20 million, whichever is high, is the penalty that the GDP, that's the European Union, will slash on you in case you breach any of its rules concerning the protection of data. So either you are paying 20 million or you're taking 4% of your annual global turnover. 20 million euros is not a cheap money that you can easily just think of get. And maybe let your company be crashed down. So the issue about data is a strategic imperative. It's not just an IT imperative left for technical staff. It's a boardroom discussion issue. And if you don't manage it very well, you'll be paying it in all our data security classes in the access class. The enterprises are kind of complaining that the what actually trips them up is detecting breaches in real time. The kind of other apps that they have, the shadow IT or governance app that they use, discovering and classifying personal data, insider trust and policy adherence. All these are gateways for breaches. All these are gateways for breaches. Unauthorized technology that people bring to the office. They are not telling them to bring it to the office, and they bring it to the office. They sometimes hide it and bring it to the office and use it, and sometimes log into accounts on compromised machines. And sometimes you cannot be able to even control what your own employees are doing. Insider trust and policy at the end, they don't adhere to what is required of them for them to adhere to. Staff adopt third-party cloud tools with no approval or oversight from IT. Many firms simply do not know where their personal the PPPII, that's the personally identifiable information lives. So even for consumers and even for even internal workers, where is my data being stored? Who has access to that data? Sometimes they don't even know. Okay. Getting employees to follow usage and sharing storage rules consistently is hard because it's a human behavior issue. It's a human behavior. So these are top security challenges that companies are going through. And that means that they have to find a way of addressing this, and it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do for many companies. It's not an easy thing to do. Okay. Now, if you look at it very carefully, on the book here, I've listed out a number of the breaches, or the challenges that they face. Which challenge buys hardest here? Pick a sector you know, either banking or telecom, healthcare or education or government or Ghana or your home country. Which of these tend to kind of do you connect with or do you relate with in your sector where you work? Detecting breaches in time is a problem. People using third-party applications are not being approved. Discovering and classifying personal data, insider trust and policy adherence, credential theft and identity access, regulatory and cloud alignment. So which of them is the difficult thing for you to hold? I've seen Hannah here. Hannah, good evening. You are in the banking sector, so tell us something. Which of them is difficult for? Do you consider to be difficult for some of the banking institutions to manage, or they face quite often? Which of these challenges? Yes,
Good
Hannah.
evening,
Yes.
Prof. Yes, sir. Good
Good,
morning,
yeah.
everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, so I think the credential theft will top it because that's the easy way people get access to data that they are not given the approval for.
Okay.
Then that
And then,
can be followed mostly with regulatory and cloud alignment because we deal with other institutions and their own data governance as well.
okay. So that's good. Yes. Anybody in another sector? Thank you very much. Anybody in another sector? You want me to call you before you talk? Mary Woman, you are here. Good evening. Okay. Okay, let me call Sharon. Sharon Nasari. Which sector are you in?
Hello, Prof.
Hello, Sharon. You are tired. Which sector are you in?
Prof, do you mean where I work currently or using what we are doing?
The sector that you know much about or where you work. Any of them can work. Oh, it's
I
acceptable.
work in the finance sector.
So the type of finance sector you work in, which of the challenges do you think has been coming up? The challenges here, the six
Um,
challenges here.
Perhaps insider trust and policy adherence.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Insider trust and policy adherence. Thank you very much.
You're
David,
welcome.
I see your hand is up.
Yeah, Prof. My sector is more of like tech. So I'll go for shadow IT and governance gaps. So I'm
Okay.
putting myself in the position of the normal staff member, where I myself we have IT guidelines that are IT
Mm-hmm.
team sensor. So we can't just go and download any third party to like let's say Claude AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and put company documents inside, because those are
Okay.
things that's are bounded by. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Well, give us your view. Sorry. Yes.
Yes, sir. Although I have been warned not to speak about a Greek, I will say
Oh, nobody has warned you. Nobody
predictive.
has warned you. You can speak, please.
Oh,
Is the lady was
okay.
just putting alert.
Predictive model for yield studies. Many a times
Okay.
people get into the farming sector without knowing getting value for money from the onset. So with the
Yeah.
predictive, you know what you are going to get, and then it gives you the guidelines.
Okay. So what challenge do they have?
Thank
They don't even know about it or they don't even use it. What do you think?
Currently we are doing it, but the awareness and the dissemination of it is what we are having challenges.
Okay. Okay. I understand what you're
Thank you.
saying. So that means that technically, that means that we have got limited understanding of the what technologies we want to use and even follow and use
Exactly.
that. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
That is a challenge, but it's not here. But it seems to be a very good challenge. Yeah, limited understanding of the current softwares that are in place, and if you have got limited understanding, you may not even apply it well. You may end up not applying, or you may even abandon it. Adoption will be very poor. Um. Okay. Very good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So five terms that blend together. The first one is we have talked about data. We are hearing data governance, and then we hear privacy, we hear protection, we hear security. Now, some of them are intertwined. So that's why sometimes it becomes a difficult thing for us to understand it. Governance is the outermost directive layer. That's what that sits as the big umbrella that embraces everything. Data security sits within information security because you need data to be secure before you can generate information. So information security cannot sit within data security. Note that. You process data to get information. So data security sits within information security. Information security information has to be governed. To govern data, we have to govern information. So the data will be at the outside. Data governance will be at the outside. Don't ask that, is there information governance? Yeah, okay. And then there is also data privacy and then data protection. Privacy has to do with individual rights. Usually it sits within the security. But to be able to manage privacy and achieve it, we need to protect the data. So then we go to data protection, which is combining security and then privacy. Data protection is combining security and then privacy. So data security sits within the information security. Privacy and protection sits within data security. So to achieve data security, we have to ensure that people have privacy and we have to protect that privacy. Then we can get data security, then we can get information security, then we can get data governance. So what counts as data? Data is raw. So yes, please.
Please, can you take that again?
Yes, please.
I'm there. What's the question?
So what you just did with the data governance, the data
Governance
privacy,
is the
yes, and
most
everything.
okay. So data is the governance, the governing of everything in the house. So that's because it's a governance mechanism. So we are putting rules to govern what we have. Now, before we can even talk about data governance, there should be what? Data. When we have data, we have to secure that data. When we secure that data, that means that we have been able to achieve data security. But data is also processed into information, so we have to secure the information too. So we secure the information and then we can then. So our data governance meaning that in governing everything, we have to secure the information. We have to secure the data that led to the information. And then we also have to make sure that we protect people's rights. Do you understand it? So,
Yes, Prof. I think I do. Yes.
good. So in a house, let's take it like the dad is the parents are sitting on top. They establish rules. Children come and meet them to protect, but we have to protect the children and protect the rights of the children. Even though you are giving them freedom to run around and stuff, if they are hungry, and so they have to know how to ask for food, and we protect them. Now, these children, who has seen this thing happen before? You take your child to a party, and then we're talking about everything. And mommy does this, and mommy comes home. She says, mommy travels a lot, and mommy is here, and mommy and daddy is here. Daddy comes home. You have not asked anybody a question. He's just talking everything about everything that happens in your house. Who has gone through that before? You see that, or you go and visit your nieces and they are just telling you everything. Mommy just came in yesterday. She just traveled and came back home. And they say that is a new thing that she bought. Nobody has asked her a question. Then she starts showing to you, and everything she will download it to you. Now that problem is privacy issues. The child does not know where the privacy ends. So sometimes some parents what they do is that as soon as the child finishes greeting, say get up, go and play with your other friends, go and play with your cousins. They don't let you sit around the auntie and things. Because by the time you realize they will download everything to do that. What the parent is doing is that he's doing protecting privacy of their children. But apart from privacy, some parents will say that as much as I trust you, I'm not leaving my child over. So no sleepovers. I can come, my child will be there, but for the safety of my child, we go home at the end. So no sleepovers, no matter how much you beg that you want to sleep over. Even some parents are so strict, they don't even sleep over their own brothers, like with their family members' house. Because some things are, a lot of issues have happened in family members' house and nobody will own up. So when the party is over, when the event is over, the parents will carry the child. That is data security. Protecting is the child. Privacy was about not letting the child talk plenty. Data security is carrying the child away from the environment and go and taking the child away from that environment. Now it's possible that when you're going to the party, you have bought your child PS2, you have bought him maybe Nintendo games, and he was playing in the car. But there are some parents that when they get down there, you can't get down with the toy, leave it in the car. That is information privacy because it's preventing the child from growing up there with her toy, which has different impressions. If hey, this child, how old is he that I bought this thing for her? He doesn't want that kind of thing to go out there because it is a difference between the child using the mouth to say, which is about privacy, but the child carrying the information, carrying the device there, it's a different story. So parents are very strict about you can't carry that your game to school, you can't carry it to this, you can't carry that day. Why? That is about information security. So the child can be there, but the information about the thing that what you have bought for the child can't carry to your place. Even some clothes you have bought for your child, you don't let, when you are going to certain places, you say you can't wear this into this place. Not the dress is indecent. You don't want your child to be put into a particular category because some family members when they see that your child is wearing maybe too much, something that looks like you bought a watch for your child, say, hey, this 7-year-old child has her own watch. And sometimes they will say it in laughter, but you know it has implication. The next time they are doing contribution, they expect more from you. So, so you want to protect this kind of stuff. So what do? You let your child take less to the place as if he doesn't have. Not that you don't have, but you are protecting what the information. So that's about information. But all these are coming because you have governance rules in the house. We are okay, but in certain places we have to appear normal and not do too much so that eyes will come upon us. We are okay, but when we go to certain places, we don't talk too much. We can appear that we trust, but we can appear that we trust, but doesn't mean that we don't control. All these are governance issues you and the wife are making. But sometimes you may realize that the wife wants to really show off. Like I was watching some movie this afternoon, and the woman, the child, or the Ghanaian, the African lady, that's a Nigerian lady, was telling the husband that our children have to go to school in. He said the schools that are in the state. You senator, how many of your children go to the school? They said, oh, but our children are going to private school. They are doing very well. I said no. All the people in our neighborhood, their children are in UK or US. They say yes, UK US is good. They are good school, but they don't have good culture. And I want the children to grow up in good culture. The woman said no. When he goes around, when her friends are talking, she wants to say something that her children are also in UK, are also in America or Canada. And then the husband was saying that, and after 5 years, he come back and they don't know what it is. They have got 3 earrings on their nose and stuff. I don't want that. And what you're trying, you're trying to protect the child, your children. So governance comes from a lot of interaction and discussion where compromises happen. And sometimes people may not even understand, and somebody has to be firm and put a decision across. So that is governance. So please, if you didn't understand, I hope the layered approach I've given in relation to a family unit can help you understand it. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
Prof.
Prof, it's very clear. Yeah.
Okay.
Prof, but please a question. Sorry, I didn't raise
Yes.
my hand.
A
From what
question
you're saying,
about your home or about the data.
send me my home, they would have chop slap or knock already.
Okay.
I'm asking if we are saying data governance is the big umbrella that covers everything. Can I then conclude that if I'm doing anything that is of data privacy, then I'm indirectly doing a bit of data governance
Yes, privacy is within the whole thing.
because
Part
it's
of the
in
data
the whole
governance will
umbrella?
also
Okay.
deal with privacy, but privacy is about the individual rights protected. But the
Yes,
other
please.
side but the organizational protection of the data is data security.
Yes,
When you are doing
please.
data security, you are protecting the employees' privacy rights, and then you are also protecting the organizational data. Do you understand me?
Yes, Prof. Yes, please. Thank you.
That's why I say that data protection combines security and what? Privacy. Data protection combines security. Data security is more about technical and procedural safeguards to achieve privacy and then achieve protection. Information security protects all informational assets, including the digital and physical. The one down here looks like it's more, all of them are more what physical, so the digital. But when you talk about information security, that means that we now have to embrace the non-digital information. Okay, good. Now let's do a quick test. 37.2 is data. The patient temperature is 37.2 degrees Celsius and stable. So discharge today is information. But the measurement 37.2 is just data. It can even mean, and if I don't put the degrees Celsius by it's even more confusing because it can be height. It can be height of somebody. It can be so many different things. But it's at the data level. When I put it within a context, the patient's temperature is 37.2 and is stable. So that means that I can then take decision out of it. Good. Discharge the person today is information. Data is in this raw facts, are raw unprocessed facts. When we process it and we put them within a context, structured to support a decision, then it means that we are getting information. When facts carry meaning, they are leading towards information. When facts carry meaning, they are leading towards information. Okay. Now there are different variations of data or different animals, the same with different animals. One, there is qualitative data and quantitative data. One is numerical and measurable, that's the quantitative. One is more descriptive and then can be subjective in terms of the way people see it. That's descriptive and then descriptive such as customer feedback and brand sentiment. Now, one is structured and unstructured. Structured means that it's slots neatly into a schema. We can be able to put it into a database where we have got rows and columns, like how we have it in our Excel sheets or our spreadsheets. But unstructured data has no predefined shape, and it comes in a variety of in diverse forms, like email. In email, somebody can attach a picture, can attach audio, can even put in a link to a page. In email, the person too can choose to have a header or not put the header. Email, the person can salutate you or not salutate you, so he can just drop the information there. Email is very unstructured the way it comes in. Good. And today, when we look at the internet and the kind of interactions we are having across the world, almost 80% or more than that of our data is now unstructured form. Our ability to structure it, interpret it, and structure it to some extent to be able to interpret it and then analyze it and use it of value matters a lot. Then you have got those which come in a continuous waveforms, like on a magnetic tape. We call that analog. So you have got an analog tape before, and I've got digital tape, digital data, discrete stored in binary base and processed electronically, like we had it on the CDs. Then I've got primary and secondary data. Primary data is first-hand data, first-hand data, and then secondary data is taken from somebody else. Or so if I collect data about, let's say, sentiments of people concerning cocoa and galamsey, and I put them in together. I go to the phone, interview people. What I have is the primary data. If I come and I put it down in the library and somebody comes to pick the information to use to write a report, to that person, he didn't go to the phone. So that one becomes secondary data. So he's picking what I have reported. Then we have got big data, very large complex data sets, which are defined by several V's. Now, the common ones are the volume, the velocity, and the variety. This data comes in large quantities in terms of volume, sheer scale of record. The records are plenty, like I was talking about Amazon, and people browse on their website. And then velocity, the speed of which they come in. And then the variety, they comes in different types of data, varied forms. Sometimes it's visual form, sometimes it's audio, sometimes it's something else. Okay. Varied many shapes and resources, speed of arrival and change, velocity and volume, and then sheer scale of records. Right. So by definition, our data security is the technical and procedural work for guarding the digital data against unauthorized access, alteration, disclosure, distraction, and then theft. Usually, to be able to achieve it, we focus on confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which we call the CIA triad. Okay. And then we use different means, technical means, like encryption, multi-factor authentication, where we may end up asking for two different things to be able to confirm that it's you. So nowadays, what they do is that they send you an OTP, and then you come and put the number in and you confirm that it's you. So that's the kind of a multi-factor authentication. You're not just picking your password, but you're using something else about you or something you own to be able to generate confirm a keyword that would lead to you having access to the platform. Okay, then firewalls and continuous monitoring. Now, data security is a subset of information security. Okay. And the technical bedrock of privacy. No security, no guaranteed privacy. Privacy is the fact that we are trying to make sure that we govern how personal data is collected, personal data is handled, personal data is stored, and personal data is shared. So those legal and ethical and operational framework that will govern the way we manage personal data, collect the personal data, process it, store it, and share it, is what we call data privacy. The focus here is about the privacy of the individual, the rights of the individual, and the subject, who is the data subject. And it means that we have to gain consent, the fundamental thing, or from an individual before we do something with the person's data. Now, this ensures transparency and keep people in control of their own information. So you cannot even just delete it. Now, where security supplies the means to protect data, privacy set the rules for handling it lawfully. So if you want to know the relation between privacy and security, security is about technical means which will govern the data, but the privacy is more about the rules that will govern how we handle it and how we make others access it. A firm can therefore have a flawless security, yet poor privacy in practice, because the rules consent means that they are not adhering to the rules. They are securing the data, but they can give people access to the data without consent of the owner of the data, and that becomes the problem. So you have got the top protocols there, and people are using the right login access to log into the data, but you didn't let them confirm with the owner of the data, that's the individual, whether he wants his information private or not. Okay. Data protection is an umbrella term which brings together a technical mechanism of data security and the legal and ethical rules of privacy, preserving the integrity of data, personal and non-personal alike, across the whole life cycle. So it's the operational envelope that joins how of the security to under what authority of the privacy. So security will give us the technical part, but privacy will give us the rules that gives authorization for certain things to happen. Okay. Information security is a broader one, enterprise-wide, but it's more about information and information related assets, whether it's digital or non-digital. Okay. And with that one, we want to try and protect the information from unauthorized access, disruption, and distraction that's destroying it. Our focus here is digital systems, physical networks, paper files, intellectual property documentation, and the human being himself being able to be smart enough to also avoid certain traps that we set by others. Okay. The information security, the human being comes in. I can confuse somebody and you end up giving up a password. Okay. Data governance is now the final framework of policy and rules and processes that dictates how the enterprise will manage, improve, and secure its data. So the organizational accountability lies in data governance. The quality standards lie in data governance. The stewardship structures lie in data governance. And the compliance workflows lies in data governance. So what is this data governance at all? What is the data governance at all? Okay, so good. The objective of having data governance is one, we want to try and make sure that we can trust the data that we have. That the data itself is consistent. The governance that we give it to is consistent. Definitions that hold steady across departments. As we are managing the data, as we are handling the data, as we are processing the data, the definitions on the data itself is consistent. There is its availability or is usable. It's in the right format for people to authorize its use and be able to have access to it and be able to use it. And number two, it's protected from collection throughout to the eventual archiving and destruction, that nobody can be able to put in information that's not needed or can be able to adulterate it. Okay. Now, some research was published in the Harvard Business Review and also cited in our slides found that more than 70% of employees have active access to data and they have no business seeing. The data they are not supposed to see, they are seeing it, and it's not good. The point is that it's not that organizations should lock everything down or grind work to halt. It is access that needs structure. You have to be securing data means that it's accessible by those permitted to access it and permitted to access it in a particular way. And it's auditable and it's compliant. what are we saying? We are saying that when we want to make data secure, we want to make sure that the data is what? Accessible. But accessibility means that it should be readily available to those who have been authorized to see it, and authorized to see it through a particular pathway. Those of you who have been using your Momo app, I don't know whether you have seen it. You see that anytime you are trying to access your balance, or you are trying to check the financial services, it will ask you first of all for your code. That's your unique code that was given to you when you registered, your PIN code. That will give you access to, but the PIN code could have been enough. Then it will also check whether the device that you are holding, that contains the phone number, is actually with you and it has not been stolen. So that phone number that is assigned to your Momo name, they send a unique code to it. And then you have to capture that unique code and put it in. So your password, your PIN code, which is your password, is needed. And something that is on you, So you're not using something you know, that's your PIN code, and something that you are, that's your biometric. That is, but this one I know use biometric, but or something that you have in your possession, that is the phone itself, the SIM card itself. Then they send it to you. When they do this, they are doing multi-factor authentication. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to ensure that accessibility is to those who are authorized in terms of users and authorized in the pathway. So sometimes a user may be authorized, but he's not using the right pathway to access the information. So even if you enter your PIN code rightly and you are not able to get the one that is sent to your phone, you cannot be able to access the website or whatever they are trying to protect you from. So making data secure means that accessibility should be secured. And then it should be auditable. That means that every single thing that we do is logged and it's traceable. Every access that we do, every time we log in, we come out and stuff, is logged and traceable. Last one too, is compliant with the rules of the country and rules of the international partners that we are working with. So compliance too matters. Compliance too matters. So something can be accessible, auditable, but it may not be compliant globally. Compliance globally. I know some of you have heard about all these things that are going on where people going to America are being denied visas after they go inside the local country. Well, that's quite interesting. That's an issue about compliance too. So you get there and then they are also checking certain things to be sure that you are compliant to what is internal and what is broadly what they want to see. If they see that there's a problem, that means that something didn't happen locally well, they will just let you go back. So you have heard about even coaches and what's the name? Referees all being turned away to go to the World Cup just because of maybe one or two things they found in their history. Okay. So compliance means that it's aligned with regional and international rules. You can be a local champion, but if you want to do business at the international level, you need to be able to comply at the regional and the international rules that may pertain to what you do. Now, there's a case that we have here, which is on Spotify, and we explained it in the video. In the past, early 2000s, there used to be a lot of piracy of music through platforms like Napster and LimeWire, where if you wanted an album, you go there, you can download the full album. People were sharing people's data. Now, and there was no way of tracking, efficient way of tracking people who were listening to music and knowing that the music that they are listening to is coming from a unique listener, not somebody who is just set a computer there and the thing keeps on streaming the audio. Now, why was this a matter? Because royalties had to be paid to the music artists and then the labels that support them. But before those ones can be done, we needed a means of verifying that people are listening to the music and these are the unique numbers that are listening to it, and then some of them are buying the music. So it was a governance issue. How do we ensure that we can trust the report that we are given, that these are the thousands of people who are listening to this particular song, and how can we verify it? Spotify set out to do that, answer that question, and then it became a business opportunity for them, where they could be able to help us track user listening data data governance. They had a data governance engineer sits upon it, and then they're able to send that information to music labels. So they are able to even narrow down to how many people are listening to a particular song, where they're listening to from, whether it was Nigeria or whichever country they were listening from. They could be able to tell, and that's part of what they have captured in their data set. So it was the governance was not overhead. It was the product. So if you look at it, more Spotify is just selling data governance, appropriate data governance over streaming data, and they are making money out of it. Now, is that the only opportunity that lies in this area? Governance can become a business model where people can make money from it. Number one, entrepreneurial opportunities exist. Data compliance consultants, somebody can become a consultant, help SMEs align with the local law. I've seen this in a number of countries. I think Mauritius and other countries, they've got data protection officers who go around and help SMEs to be able to become more compliant. Data auditing services, which means that as an IS information systems auditor, you can build and get the appropriate certifications and be able to do audits on institutions. Specialized security solution, deploy and encryption, and then identity and access management, multi-factor access authentication to be able to protect the data that we have. Okay, so we can do that through other types of solutions that may be deployed. Data cleanup and data quality, clean up the data and doing it frequently, or the where the data is actually housed, so that we need to clean it up. Old data that is coming in, we don't need it anymore. We need to let the old one go. Okay, then corporate training and capacity building. You can offer yourself as a digital consultant that goes around and data consultant that goes on training institutions. So there are opportunities in making value out of this data governance area of work. Mhm. Okay, yes, Stella, go ahead.
Sir, but realistically speaking, in Ghana, which of these opportunities are actually available and being done in Ghana?
Okay, so quite a number of people who have
Look
got
at Nana's school book.
those who have got the ISO certifications
I'll go
are
back. Me
able
talk the right for life.
those who have got the ISO certifications are able to get certified and then they become data IS auditors. And they are in part of their auditing, they may also look at data governance issues. So IS auditing is there. There are people who work as IS auditors, information system auditors for banks. After taking the CISA exams and other related exams, and they pass, they get the certification, and then they go around to becoming a CISA rep or a CISA auditor and then do those auditing. So you can, that's one way you can get a job. Number two, helping SMEs. So quite a number of the young guys who are coming up now, they are not just doing just web design and stuff for people. They are actually also offering themselves as a data analyst, or some of them the only thing they know how to use is even Excel. But what are they doing? They are helping SMEs and quite a number of institutions to get themselves put on the internet and to also manage their balances. So I know quite a number who have built applications for SME growth in quite a number of rural communities. They build it for them and then they deploy it for them to use it. So there are pockets of opportunities that are there, but as you said, they are quite these are more profound in a developed country where the concern is not about getting food to eat. The concern then become much more about um, the safety of people and getting data in real time and making sure the data that people have access to that doesn't compromise other people. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Prof.
yes. Now, lastly, you should also understand that some of you are also entrepreneurs on your own. So even your own small enterprise, you want to make sure that you are doing something right, so that in case you are going to present your books for a loan or for a service support at the bank, when they check all of these, they will see that there's the legality about your business, the online part of your business is well structured. Quite a number of the bedroom business models are going on, where people are doing business from their bedroom, they order from Shein and sell from their bedroom. They don't have appropriate structures in their own. One, sustainability is an issue because there's just some small money that they are using to bring things down. And maybe if they don't get a secure way of getting it through speed to Ghana, it becomes more costly because the small item that you bought, you may realize that custom now have some flat fees. They may just give it to you and it's way above what you actually purchase the product. But if you want the product, you have to just pay and walk away. Mhm. So you have to so even understanding the economics or balancing the two, whether you want to be entrepreneurial or we want to also work for somebody, it's not an easy thing, but there is opportunity. Okay. Now, in two ways that students can start their own venture. One, a student company that's developing template checklists, privacy policies, tailored to a sector or like Finland, retail or healthcare, and made available to SMEs in that area. Okay. But anchored on the law there at age 43. Then you also have content governance. Focus blog, you can start your own blog or podcast or video channel that unlocks privacy law and emerging standards, and then doing discussions on that area. Okay. So that is two ways that the students can start their own businesses in that area. Okay. Now, the core principles of data governance is the fact that, according to UREC mentioned that companies build their data governance around three pillars. Discoverability, the data can be found, and the information, the data itself is accessible in a manner that we can find insights from it and can derive insights from it. And then can ensure its quality. So better data management and quality data and master data management. Then you can also talk about the fact that the discoverability is to find, understand, and use organizational data. It depends on the metadata, such as data about the schema, the dates, the ownership, and then the quality data, comprehensive, completeness, accuracy, freshness, anything that we are discussing, quality matters there. And a master data management, which contains or maintains a single consistent version of core entities such as customers and then products. Okay. Then you go to security as protecting assets from misuse and exposure, combining data privacy with data security. And accountability is the last one. So can we find the data when we look at your policy? Where can we locate the data? What data is it? What form does it come in? How far does the data cover? Okay. So the sitting beneath this is classification and access control, establishing who has the different roles that exist, and who has ability to access what, and who doesn't have ability to access whatever it is. So we want to make sure that in our data governance policy, when we finish developing it, we can see the three pillars: discoverability, we can locate the organizational data. Number two, the security, we are protecting assets from misuse and exposure. And number three, we are also establishing accountability. Accountability. Who owns, manages, and decides that the data about each data domain and is delivered through database governance. Okay. Classifying and grouping data. Now, in a nutshell, we have been able to discuss different aspects of data. We have been able to appreciate the types of the fact data is not the new, is now the new oil. It's not just the new oil. It's now the new form of power. It's not the new water. It's not the new soil. We have also been able to appreciate that the data that we have, they come in different forms. There is the process data, and then the process data that becomes information, and the data that we have, we can then be able to use it to make decisions. But without putting in the sound measures to process the data, we cannot arrive at that. So data governance became an important thing. Okay. And then we had to govern the data. Good. And in governing the data, we have looked at three pillars here: discoverability, security, and accountability. Now let's look at the example here. No single policy governs every kind of data very well. Classified logically, then apply security access and retention rules to in proportion to sensitivity. So let's look at it. The first one is HR profile. The name of the person is there, then the date of hire. The classification, this is internal. So we can classify data as either being internal or restricted. Internal or restricted. So that means that you may not have access to it. And we can also say that it's public, it's made available to everybody. So the HR profile is data that is going to be internal. We don't make it available to everybody. It only stays in an internal part of the organization. But we can say that it's authorized, it's accessible to all users, including people who are making rules and regulations to all users. And we will keep it for an indefinite time because we are, so far as we are an organization, we're always going to have people passing through. Issues concerning compensation, in case you want to compensate somebody, compensation is going to have factors such as the base salary of the person, the bonuses the person may have been receiving. Now, this is restricted information because it's per an individual, it's not for every person. So the line manager reports only to the payroll managers in this scenario, and it's restricted to the person's information. This one is the actions here data is read and write. Now, in some organizations, compensation packages can be reviewed every 6 months. So until 6 months is up, we don't sit down to look through. Okay, then we have got financial detail, like how much we pay you. That one is also restricted. So everybody in the organization should have it. Okay, but and the bank account that we use is SWIFT. Is the bank with the details that we need is the bank account and then the SWIFT ID, so that you can transfer the money to the bank and then it can credit you. Okay, so who then are we talking to? The authorized people, are the payroll managers, and then we have to make sure that we are sending information out. Now, what are we trying to put here? We look at who has access to the information, discoverability. Then we also looked at another point, security and accountability. Can we capture that in our in here? Security and accountability. So the security restricted. Accountability, we write the authorized users and make them plain and who are authorized use of the platform. Okay, so we have got all employees for the HR profile, line managers and payroll managers for the compensation, and then for the financial detail, only payroll managers. And I think it makes sense. It makes sense in this era. Yes, Stella.
So the read only. I was wondering if the read only is also part of the security. The read only, the
Yes,
actions.
because you, the employee, cannot change anything after you have been employed, unless you go through a process of getting it updated. So all employees have access to it, but it's for you to be able to be informed. I don't know whether when you see your payslip, you can't edit the payslip. It's an information
No,
that's good. And you can then but if there's an error, you can go to the right of the
account
right of desk and
department.
go get it
Yes.
rectified. Good. Good. That's what we mean. Thank
Yes.
you. That's a very good question. Now, to be able to achieve this in organization, we need 4 key rules, and that is seen in many data governance policies. The first one we call the data governance team. The first one is the business owner, a senior business leader or department head, such as a vice president of HR or chief financial officer. They are ultimately accountable for the day for a data domain. They set strategy, approve policy, classify elements, and tie data to their business goals. So that's what we call the data owner. The data owner. That's where we begin from, the data owner. Business heads, VPs, vice presidents, and stuff who are accountable, ultimately accountable for the data domain. They set strategy, approve policy, and classify elements, and then tie the data to the wider business goals. Okay. Then the data stewards, which are mid-level experts who act as operational guardians of data. They manage the day-to-day quality and write definitions, settle conflicts, and enforce policies. Enforce the policies owners approve bridging the business needs and technical systems. Okay, so what a data steward will do is that he will sit on the personalization of the data. While the data owner is the one who is said that, okay, I'm the one who is here. I will prove and I have the final say on the data. I can even bring in new agenda on how we are going to manage the data. The steward will now pick it and make it an operational strategy or take it up operationally and see how it can be implemented. Then you have the data custodian, those IT and database administrators who will sit on the technical side to make sure the data is packed up, the data storage are working, the data encryption is in session, data encryption is there, and whatever it has been whatever or whoever has been whose data has been encrypted is secure. The server access, which is physical access to it, is still secure, and then we are able to document the time it goes down, the time it comes up. That's in case of uptime and the downtimes. Now, the data custodian is the one we are going to hold the actual data responsible in case there's a problem. We are holding responsible in case there's a problem. They are the data user. Data user is the one who is at the receiving end. They are developing the system because of him. And sometimes, if the system is not developed, he's the same person who will try to access a service. And then during the access of the service, the need for a system, the need for the policy can even be defined. For example, students came to University of Ghana. All of a sudden, we say we are putting them online, teaching them online. And when we started teaching them online, then GTech comes and says, where is your online teaching policy? Then realize that we have not defined one for them. Even though we want to deploy and let the students use a system called Sakai. So just this, we went through the process of developing it. After a series of years of finished developing it, you see how policies take time. Just this morning, the university has now published policies that have been approved by the university, teaching and learning policy, which has to do with something related to the online part too, and then AI use for academic work policy. So those two have now been released after some time of us working on it about 2 years or 3 years ago. Now all of them have been approved through, but because they are policies, they went through to the head, to the university council to be accepted or passed and enacted that it's a policy that governing our behavior. So somebody said that upon all of the time that we have been teaching online, what were we using to teach? We're using guidelines. We're using guidelines. So the users are the people who can even trigger the fact that there's a need for you to have a policy, and you usually have a data governance framework. The users in their using can even say certain things. That this thing that we are using, why is that we are not doing like this? Then it can trigger a discussion, and that discussion will show that there's a need for us to modify our current policy or our current systems, and we supply maybe a better way of monitoring, a better way of even gaining the same output that we're looking for from whatever we have. So please, users are very, very important. They can trigger the need for the policy. They can trigger the need for the policy as they express their preferences, as they express their needs. So please don't take the users as for granted and knowledge workers for granted. See what's are going to operationalize the whatever we want to do in terms of policy. They may end up establishing guidelines for measuring quality. They may make sure that they settle conflicts between custodians. They may enforce policy and then make sure that the rules for the policy are followed through to the letter. Data owners are sitting very high, and they actually approve the policy that we are discussing. And when they approve, then we can implement it. So we have data owners, they play a key role, data steward play a key role, custodian play a key role, data user play a key role. Now let me ask a very interesting question. In all the four here, who is the weakest link? In all the four here, who is the weakest link? And why? Who is the weakest link? In all the four here, who is the weakest link? Are you thinking yes? Cosmos, please go ahead.
Yeah, Prof. I think it's the data users
Why?
because I think it's the data users. That's what I think.
Why?
I'm not too sure, but they just use the data and maybe they are not technically, like they don't have the knowledge, so they may be the ones to be the weakest link. That's what I think.
Okay. Yes, any other hand? I see a number. Prince iPhone. Yes, please go ahead. Prince iPhone. He's not talking, or it's not coming through. Yeah, you can type it. Stella, go ahead, and after that, Wallace.
The data owners are the weakest link because with the example you just gave, where the users were the one who determined the direction of what actually should be done, it feels like even though the data owners are the bosses, they kind of don't really have a wider say of everything since they are mainly maybe after just there is the finance per se or the profits that will come out of it. They are directed according to what all the other ones would let them do. That's what I think.
Okay, you have a point there. I see one hand up there, Wallace.
I was good. I had the same scenario in mind, so I think Stella's knew the place well.
Okay. First of all, I want to point out that anybody can be the weakest link if you're not doing your work well. Anybody who is falling short on what is expected of them in the team is a weak link. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The first thing you should look at. Okay. Now, if you look at their roles and what they do, their roles and what they do, you'll be tempted to say that the users are the weakest link. You could also be tempted to say that the data owners are the weakest link because they are also they are also sensitive to the issue. But my argument right now to you is that it doesn't matter who is the weakest link. Anybody can be the weakest link if you are failing to do what you're supposed to do. If you are failing to update your systems as to the expected whatever threshold that they expect you to do, expect you to update it to. If you're not doing that, you are also making yourself vulnerable. If you keep the vulnerability high, you can actually expose the institution to certain hacks, and that it may be easy for the hacker to be able to do so. So you don't want to be the weakest link. Whatever is defined for you to do, you have to do it very well. You have to do it very, very well. Lastly, if a data owner doesn't know where he's going with organization data, no matter what the users may point out, the data owner is the one who is sponsoring. If he doesn't see sense in it, the thing sets up. So I also appreciate Wallace and Co. who actually argue that the data owner matters more because he is going to approve. Now, people here can tell me the number of times they have put a proposal together in the office, believe that to go through, only for it to get to top management or after 3 levels, and then they're just silent on it, they don't mind you anymore. Who has seen that before? You put a dossier together, you were ready to pitch it, you went to pitch it, you went to the first level, second, and then after that, everything grew quiet. And the way you put effort and not sleeping into it, you're expecting better, but nothing much came out of it. Yes, anybody who has gone through that. Okay, I see a thumb up. I've seen a thumb up. Okay, maybe one person has gone through that. Okay. So you, the data owner, if you have a poor understanding of what an appreciation of data, no matter what we put together, you may not be able to see where we are going or what we want to achieve. So please, ability to sell the role for data, the need for data governance to the data owner matters a lot. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Prof. So in the situation where the data owner, well, arguably did not understand his responsibilities, but the main cause we saw was that he couldn't enforce what was put across, the policies that we're trying to push. Is it advisable to get all the responsibilities to sort of come together with him or make him see how important the policy can be enforced so that he will now like enforce it? Is it advisable that all the rules come in play?
Okay, so let me just say that the question is good, but the difficulty is that implementation differs from organization to organization. First of all, do people even understand the need for a policy? At the top level, have a buy-in? Even at the buy-in, have they been able to communicate the buy-in to those at the lower level? The top-down approach may work in terms of we using what do you call a head teacher approach. There's a game, everybody you have to follow. So you follow without even understanding. But then there is also the fact that you can also do it as a consultation base, where you deploy through consultations, and even in developing the policy, consultations is sought from across the different departments. So that where things are quite ambiguous, they can even modify it and they can be able to do certain things that will best work for them. So consultation is very, very important. Consultation is very, very important. No matter how much you have got a very good idea about it, consultation matters. And consultation is what will help you get much more buy-in, and that will might lead to a more success in the development of the policy. Now you also added something, I think I've forgotten. You added something that should, in case that they don't want it, should you just push it on their is it like you push it through? Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay, so for this particular example, what happened was that I think what didn't even push, make him enforce it is because some of the users were not pushing for the change. So the user influence was, I think, at the back end, did not push him enough to enforce it, but majority were also in line with the policy.
So that one is
Because
true.
we had the the surveys, we had the interviews, and then we considered.
That means that you did your engagement. You
Yes.
did your consultation engagement. Yeah, but still human behavior is human behavior. But let's also understand from what we learned from the beginning, slide one, compliance itself can be costly. Lack of compliance can be costly. That if data governance is thrown away, fines can come. And if you are doing certain things that is something like a Bank of Ghana mandate, and you don't do it with speed, if there's any breach, you will pay more. So to avoid the losses, the bank will rather put in the effort and say that whip you all into line, and so that they can be able to save the organization from lawsuits and certain breaches, than rather say that we are waiting for you to catch up. Okay, so please, what you are saying is true, but implementation differs from organization to organization. Understanding of the system or understanding of the policy to differs depending on the way it's communicated. But most importantly, let's always ask ourselves, what is the greater good? If lack of compliance can lead us to a cost of losing $2 million, it is better we comply. It's better we comply. Okay, so the data governance,
Yes, Prof.
100%, yeah,
Yes,
better we
please.
comply. So that's why, for sensitive organizations or sensitive data or actions and transactions, we may have to tell people to comply and even enforce compliance. I know some organizations that if you don't do certain things concerning compliance by the 15th of this, your salary will not be processed. Because what you have done is it's like your appraisal monthly is part of the compliance. So you go and feel that this month I've been able to do this, I've been able to do the test and take the test on the platform and do this and and score this amount. So by the time the end of the month is up, they have the test scores, they're able to know those who are passed and those who are not compliant, those who are failing. After 3 fails, they will fire you. So you know what you are in for. Okay. Now, Data Governance Institute, which is an international institute that exists, you can Google and find more about them, has set out 8 principles to govern the way organizations use data in order to achieve move towards appropriate and safer measures of governance. The first one is integrity. Everyone be candid and about limitations and quality issues and the consequences of decisions. Everyone in the program is candid about limitations. Every person, you see, it means that integrity should be one of the core things. What is wrong with our data? This data that we have here, is it perfect? Is there a problem with you? Can we do something about it? We have to be candid about the limitations, the quality issues, and the consequences of decisions. Okay, number 2, transparency. Insiders and auditors can see how and when decisions were made and which controls are applied. That means that we should be clear to insiders and auditors alike how and when decisions are made and how controls are applied. Auditability. Every decision and process and control is documented and open for review and operational regulatory purposes. Okay, let's continue. Then you got stewardship. This is not the data stewardship we saw earlier. It's more about this is more about a description of what we expect from you, a goal we want to achieve. Responsibilities are set for individual stewards and for stewardship councils, spreading ownership across what the organization. So responsibilities are set for the stewards and the council, spreading ownership. So we want to make sure that we set a risk. More people are coming in, and then the risk is not on only one person. Okay. Then we're also making sure that if decisions are taken, quite a number of perspectives are coming through. Then you have standardization. Oh, sorry, checks and balances. Tension between business teams and technology or compliance teams is built in deliberately. Some organizations do this. They make sure that they may give certain information to one team and then give information to the other, expecting them to think through and be able to build synergies. So I have seen myself go through that before. I was deploying a system in UK University, and I was part of the technical team. And I then realized that we're working with lecturers and secretaries. Good. But what I didn't understand is any person we were engaging had an alternative that we didn't even know, an alternative reason why they were participating in the platform. So when we were the developers, we will give an instruction. You see that one of the other parties, third parties, are very happy about the instruction. Maybe the secretaries, they are very happy. Let me explain it very well. The system was a student database system. They had the registration side, they had the examination side, and they had the transcript side, and they had the part for lecturer entry of marks. Now, the secretaries come in for only registration, helping people to register, and they don't come in a lot. So we have actually created access by your rules. So if you're a lecturer, you can see the examination side if you're an exam officer, but if you're just a lecturer, you can only do the marks entry. But we didn't know that the behavior in the places are very interesting. This was, let's say, 2000 and 1990. No, this 2002, 2003. This is before the social media era. That I was having high five and other those kind of MySpace and stuff. Now, what we didn't realize is that some of the lecturers, because they don't have computer, they don't have time, they give maybe they may give the password or something to a secretary or somebody to enter the results for them. And that gives the opportunity for the person to get to know who and who is getting what, and can also start using to do his own kind of business. He cannot change the records, but he can manipulate people through that. Oh, I've seen your mark, you got this. I've seen your mark, you got that. Yeah. Now, anytime that we came in to do kind of check and balances, checking that the procedures, everything is working on, there's no error, and we are going to touch the lecturer entry platform. We realized that people are not happy because lecturers who are giving access to people didn't want us to know they were giving access to secretaries to enter the results. And secretaries also didn't want them to realize that apart from registration of students, they were also doing more than that to be able to get some back pay or some side hustles out of it. But this is sensitive student data. And we realized that doing audits was very, very important. At the end of the day, we shut down the lecturer interface. that you can't enter any results or any marks like that there. To all go to examination officer. The examination officer will do the entry, and then we'll go and discuss at the examination board. Now, what am I trying to point out? Sometimes we have put a system in place, but the human behavior has been modified. So if you don't consistently review, if you don't consistently monitor, what you realize is that you may end up having a system that is solving a different problem, and then a rules that is also solving a different problem. People adapt their human behavior to go around the same system. Okay. Then standardization, definitions, schemas, and formats are standardized enterprise-wide. So we have what is expected of us, and they have standardized the outcomes. Like we know that this is the number of standards that we are adhering to. This is our operational definition for this. So if it's a school setup, there is standards that's established. If it is a university setup, there's standards established. If it's a hospital setup, there's standards established. Okay. Now, in the midst of all of these things, the DGI tells you that you are dealing with human beings. Do not exclude the fact that you have to manage your egos, manage people as you are going through these things. And managing people means that you have to acknowledge their role, respect their role, and still echo the change that is coming. Manage their role, respect their role, and still echo the change that is coming. Echo the change that's coming. Or be proactive and reactive processes are put in place to be able to address what is going on. So we want you to be able to understand these 8 principles matter in how do we handle data. Integrity, first of all. Yeah. Be candid about the limitations of the system, the quality issues. Sometimes people are not even candid, honest that there are missing values in the data they have. Need to do a very good overview of the data and point out where the errors are, so we can be able to know how we can analyze it and not introduce biases. Transparency, insiders and audience can see how and when decisions were made and how controls were applied. Very important. Number 3, auditability. We can be able to trace to the very person who did it. We're able to, because everything is documented. Stewardship. We have defined roles and responsibilities of who is doing what, whose work is functionary, that is construction. So he's doing here and he's doing that. Okay. We want to know all these things. And then we also want to understand how information flows through the different groups in the institution. How do we even get access? For example, if I want to be able to, I'm in a hospital and I want to be able to engage the data governance issues to doctors, what would be the best approach? How do I understand the different subject matter groupings within the institution? All these are things that you have to be able to do through appropriate stewardship, responsibility for individual stewards and stewardship council, spreading ownership across the organization. Checks and balances. I just explained that one. Standardization, definitions, schemas, and formats. All of that have to be defined. Okay, then change management. Proactive and reactive processes govern updates to reference data, schemas, and metadata and access policy. Whatever we have developed that we are going to use within organization, we have to be able to follow it through. Follow it through. Yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand was up.
Yes, Prof. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm struggling to make a distinction between the principles, because I see accountability.
You see the
and
codependencies.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it's true. And that's why I think you work because maybe you work with data. This is something that will just come to you. That's why you are seeing that. If you're a
Okay.
developer to you will see what she's talking about. So can you give an example of what you have seen?
So for stewardship, I'm seeing accountability and standardization playing a role in
Yes.
there. Yes.
So if you get one wrong, it will affect the other.
Okay. Okay.
You understand me? So if you look at
Yes,
how we
please.
define, we did the steps in which we used to develop data governance policies. There is a step for establishing definitions and then who definition, what you mean by an owner, what you mean by a data steward in your organization, what do you mean by it, and where does it go to? If there are multiple people who fit that role, you have to define it. When you define all of these things, then you can then define rules for them. I don't want to jump into the policy development. So you need to understand these things so that when you are actually defining rules for the responsibilities, it works well for you.
Noted, sir.
But yes,
Thank
but
you.
another thing that you should also understand is that what is on paper does not mean that what is on practice. What is on paper and what is on practice is very different. People can define specific rules, but in practice they don't fit the role. They cannot be able to do it well. That is beyond today's class, but I'm just wanting you to know that you have to see development of policies as a living document until it gets passed. That as times are going, you modify it to be able to suit the outcome. Okay. Yes. So 5 things we can carry from this session. 1, refine and protect, then protected. Data is a strategic asset, but it earns value after it has been refined, governance has been established, and protection is ensured. The oil metaphor stops where copying rights and durable harm begin. The center of gravity has moved. 55% of workloads are already in the cloud. Cloud and data in the cloud has become a necessity. And quite a number of institutions are running for it. That means that we being able to respond with data governance mechanisms matters. Security supplies the technical means. Privacy sets the individual rights, and then together they form protection, all directed by governance. Governance is what matters among all of these. Trust can be a business. We are just pointing out that governance led to somebody's business like Spotify. People only make it work. Owners, stewards, custodians, and users held together by the 8 DGI principles of integrity, transparency, and checks and balances is what will help us get a good outcome in terms of data governance. Okay. So please, this is what we wanted to cover today. I don't want to go too much into many other things. You can listen to these things as music and stuff in the link that I gave you earlier. Next week we'll be discussing this class I've engaged a lot. But the other class I was able to start the chapter 2, but it's nothing wrong. It's because you also want to understand. I'm very happy. Next week we'll be discussing this one. IT policy, security, and privacy. I think in the video of today, we even mentioned a little bit after. One of the things is that we'll try to understand what an IS policy is, being a high-level statement which ensures the appropriate and responsible use of our information technology assets or resources. But there are different types of them. There's the policy, the standard, the guideline, and procedure. Usually the policy is a high-level strategic mandatory board-approved document. That's what we call the policy. And it takes more time to get that one approved, passed. Now, after the policy, we also have mandatory, specific, technical configurations and rules. That's what we call standard. Then, when the policy has not yet been passed, sometimes we establish guidelines as non-mandatory, but best practice of doing things. So until they pass the University of Ghana teaching policy, teaching and online teaching and what's the name? Teaching and learning policy, we had guidelines for it, which we're using as a stopgap measure until the policy itself is enacted. So most of the time, people do guidelines as a step towards the actual policy. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, we also have mandated operational steps. That's called procedure. How to install the printer. First of all, remove the cable, put in the CD, double click setup. Let us finish installing. After that, put in the keyboard, and then let's show that the USB part is working very well. And then So they tell you all this, put in the printer, put in all of this, and so they put very step by step process. All that they're trying to do is doing procedures. So what we'll do is that we'll appreciate these ones next week, and then we'll look at some of the existing common policies that I have looked at examples of such. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Okay. So please, if you have time and you go to the class video for this class, today's session has been recorded in the cloud. I'll upload it to YouTube later after it's finished compiling. And the link has been shared with you. I told David to put it in the class platform. I think yes. Okay. Let me click on my PowerPoint again. Oh, I double click, I switched off. Okay. So in the YouTube, when you go there, you'll find the link there and then you use it to. I just wanted to show you that what we had earlier is there. So when you have time, please subscribe to get the things well. So this is the data governance full course. You have this one. This one is what I wanted you to watch, what we watched earlier. The video summaries. The video summaries are there. So there's chapter 1 video summary, chapter 2 videos, and the rest is music summarizing the topics that we have covered. So chapter 1 video summary, chapter 2 video summary. Each of them is just about 6 minutes. Just about 6 minutes. Let me just copy the link directly for all of you. I'll put it in the WhatsApp page for us. And that is it. Okay, you have done it already. Thank you very much. David, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. It's been great teaching you, and welcome back. All of you, welcome back. We'll have a very interesting time engaging and learning together. And I pray that it will be a better semester than last semester. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so please, one of the activities you're supposed to do, as well as with your team, get me in the class, your groupings and the names of the people and their index number and email address in each of the group. Okay, please, as much as possible, get me in the list for the group work. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Prof.
Good night,
Please
Prof.
remember
Good night.
the information is on Sakai. The information is on Sakai.
Yes,
Don't
please.
yes, don't abandon it.
Prof, but the song is nice, oh. The
Yes.
song is very nice, very catchy.
Hey, you these ladies.
When I tell you Prof is an angel from above, you won't believe it.
I'm still wondering how he's able to do it because every song I listen to is a hit for me.
Okay.
I'll
I
come for
hear you.
lessons, Prof. I'll come for lessons. I really want
Yes,
to learn.
that's when you are welcome.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, so thank you very, very much. Spend time and try to. I think one thing I like about one of the song, the soul one, the very first one before for every song there's the one prescribed in the book, and then there's a remix because we are Ghana. We want something a little bit fast. So the main song itself sometimes is according to what is in the book. The book actually right. So those of you, I didn't get time to show you some things in the book. Let me just quickly show you something in the book when you get it that you like about it so much. So those of you who are talking about the music like this, if you look at the, where is it? Oh, good. My Zoom is here. Let me just share. A few people were. Yeah, good. So this is the book that I'm zooming in for you. So if you look at it at the end of the chapter, there are some questions for you to look at and discuss. But then the song and the lyrics are there. So if you wanted to sing along, the song is there. Actually, everything there, verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, up to the end of the song. And then it explains the song with the music, how the song carries the chapter. They can click or scan and then go listen to the song. Every chapter has this in it. Every chapter has this. So you are welcome. Thank you.